Merry Christmas, everyone. I want to send a greeting out to you in this last 2 weeks of 2020, a year that shall live in infamy. We've been through quite a season with a lot of very strange things that have happened, and I think many of us are thrilled that this year is coming to a close and hoping for better prospects in 2021. But I want to give you a shout out at Christmas, and I want you to think a little bit about this very strange story. The idea that God would come to earth as a human being and identify with the human race forever. Now, how would someone with absolute immense power introduce himself into the world? We would think he'd come in some dramatic kind of way, but he came in stealth. He came in through a young couple. Mary was pregnant outside of wedlock, which would have been a huge stigma in that time. They had to move from the place they lived down to take a census, a long distance away, traveling in the most inconvenient way. When she goes into labor pains, she ends up not having a place to have her child, so she ends up not in a sort of a nicely lit, warm hospital, but she ends up in a stable that I'm sure was full of urine smell. Was the most, she would have never planned for that kind of thing to happen. And you're telling me that this is how God would come into the planet. And I think for me that gives great hope, because it says God comes in to the most unlikely places, areas where you would never expect him to be. Maybe you're going through something right now. And I want to give you a message of hope, that God is interested. God did not just dial it in from the suburbs. He came right into the heart of the human race. And what we know is this, that later on when wise men, or we call them magi, came from a long distance, they opened up their treasures and they gave him gold, incense, and myrrh. Gold was a picture of God came. Gold was a symbol of God, or as a metaphor for God. And so there was gold in that stable. And maybe you're looking at a situation right now and you're like, I don't see God anywhere. He's there and he's working. Incense was the beauty of the life of Jesus Christ. And the myrrh was a substance used for embalming bodies that had died. And so it pictured what he came to do. Many people ask, why is there suffering in the world? I don't know how to answer that question with perfect satisfaction, but I do know this. We have a God who identified with suffering. And Jesus Christ died on a cross, but he rose again. And that resurrection gives us hope. If you look behind me, you see these lights on the Christmas tree. And whenever I see Christmas lights, and I love to look at them, houses that are ornately decorated, it's a picture of this. When things are the darkest, God shines the brightest. When in the most unexpected places, God can show up. And so I want to give you good tidings of great joy. That's for all people. It's for you. And I wish you a very Merry Christmas. I pray that you have a wonderful time with your family, or whatever ways that you celebrate. As always, we're available if you need to connect. My number is 877-322-CHAP. That's 877-322-2427. My extension is 5017. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. If you're of the Jewish faith, Happy Hanukkah. And may you just have a peaceful rest of the year and a hope-filled 2021. God's blessing on all of you.